like to ask a question, please try to grab their attention and we'll deliver the microphone to you. And also please state your name and affiliation before you ask a question. Coach, some opening remarks and then we'll take questions.
Well, I think you heard a lot of remarks out there, and I'm just, again, very humbled and grateful to be here, living another dream of mine to represent this amazing athletics department and this amazing state, and a place that just means so much to me and my family. So just really excited to get going and get in the gym for our first practices and get to know this team.
Suits with Channel 1011. Dani, welcome home.
Thanks.
How do you wrap your mind around everything that's transpired over the past week and then even being welcomed here to the Devaney Center as Nebraska's head volleyball coach?
Yeah, it's pretty tough to wrap your mind around it. And like I said, looking at this stage, I was like, this is crazy. This is a bit much. And but at the same time, just it's an honor to be part of a place that cares so much about the sport of volleyball and continues to push the limits and shows everybody what can be done and that it works and people care. So again, really grateful, and just having John Cook around and being so supportive. It's meant so much and given me a lot of confidence, and just has made this transition seamless and exciting and not nerve-wracking or scary. So.
Coach Jake Bartecki out of News Channel Nebraska in Beatrice. First off, welcome home.
Thank you.
I got to ask, there's a lot of good things going on with Gage County right now in the sports world. You got Cam Jurgens in the Super Bowl Sunday, and now you're the coach here at Nebraska. What is it about that area that's led to so much recent success, and what is it about the Freeman community that means so much to you?
I couldn't tell you what's led to all the success in Gage County. That's pretty funny, but I feel like the people in Nebraska in general, in Southeast Nebraska, they love sports, and everybody does everything. It's a mixture of tons of small towns, and so I think there's a lot to be learned from that. And having Freeman here today is pretty amazing. It's funny, I was joking. They got out of school at noon, so of course they're all going to come. If they came, they got an excused absence. But just to see the support out there and hearing them cheer, and to know that they'll always support one of their own was a very, very neat moment.
Amy Jess, Lincoln Journal-Star, you touched on this, but when did it sink in for you that you're the head coach at Nebraska, and what are those emotions, and what has that felt like?
It's interesting because I hadn't been super emotional, or I don't know if it really has sunk in the last week that I was actually the head coach here. It's just like I'm so familiar with Lincoln and the athletic department. Troy was joking, like I'm more familiar with the people here than he is, some of them. So a lot of people are the same. Until honestly today, when I'm getting ready for this and typing up some remarks, I'm like, wow, I'm actually doing this. Like we're gonna do this, and just seeing the support and the excitement, I think that's when it really hit me that this is happening.
Dani, Lincoln Arneal with Huskers Illustrated. You came to town a couple weeks ago to watch that love match. Was that a pre-planned trip, and when did you realize that trip led to other conversations and more was at foot that weekend?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was really pre-planned because, I have two former players playing for the Madison team, and there was a schedule change, and the original game I was going to go watch them wasn't going to work out. And so it was like, this is the perfect time to go home and also see them. And it was kind of before the big recruiting rush. But it also was a little bit of fate, when I started talking to John, and he's like, oh, if you're coming in town, let's meet with Troy. And I was like, really? And so that's when I knew that John was getting more serious about retiring, that if he was going to go to that length, I knew it was getting serious.
Hi, Dani. Andy Kendi with KETV. So just take us through. So you meet with Troy, and then how quickly does this happen? And obviously, because of you wanting to be here, it probably ruins the negotiation. Can really drive a hard bargain.
True, but no, it was pretty quick, and I think John had a lot to do with that. Just his support and him, really feeling confident that I could do it, and I think he talked to Troy a lot more than I did about it, and but it was pretty quick. We met on Saturday or Sunday, I don't even know what day, and then I think a few days later, Troy was like, "So, do you want to be the next coach here?" I was like, "Well, yeah." I was actually in practice, and I stepped out to take the phone call, and that's when the ball really started rolling.
That's great. And a follow-up here. Obviously, expectations are sky high
Yes.
here. What are your expectations leading this program?
The expectations aren't changing. Our expectations is to be in the hunt to win the Big Ten and to be in Final Fours and winning national championships. But I also, want our players to leave here just loving the sport of volleyball and loving the game, and be dying to play pro or coach or give back, and have this feeling of that they're not burnt out. And so I think that the expectation is for these players to have an amazing experience, and usually that leads to success.
Abby Barmer with Husker Online. Obviously, a big key to this is that John is retiring. What was your reaction when he told you he was going to retire, and just how important has his impact been on your career as a player and now coach?
I knew he was always thinking about retiring, but in the back of my head, I was like, I don't know if he'll ever actually pull the trigger, because he has such a great team, and he says a lot. Like, this is the most fun I've ever had coaching. So for him to walk away now, I think said a lot about, his family. Like, he cares about his family. He wants to spend more time with them, and the fact that he's confident and satisfied with what he's done, that he can walk away, and also the fact that he's going to still be a big part of this program and helping me, especially through this first season. I forgot the second part of your question. What's he meant? Okay. Yeah, just incredible impact. And, I've been calling John for advice since my very first job at Tennessee, and he's helped me through a lot of issues, at previous institutions or times when I didn't know what to do, and being able to have somebody like him to lean on, who's literally been through it all, I feel like, and been successful through it all, was just always really comforting. And again, for him to really put a stamp of approval on me just meant a lot. We had a lot of interesting times throughout our relationship, which we'll get to those someday, little by little, but sometimes I'm surprised he didn't kick me off the team, but he always supported me, and this is just another step of that.
Hi, Dani. Lauren Michelson, KTV in Omaha. Obviously, I don't have to be the one to tell you you're taking over an outstanding team, but what's your message been to this group of young women throughout this transition?
Well, I haven't had a ton of time to spend with them, unfortunately, just with, I came here to meet with them briefly last week, and then I had a family vacation planned right after that I really felt like I needed to go on before all this started. So I haven't had a ton of time, but mainly it's just, again, what I said out there, that the values are going to stay the same, but there's going to be some different things that we do, and I'm excited to give them a little bit of change while also keeping so many things the same, because there's so many amazing things that have worked for so long. But to put a little spin on it will be a lot of fun.
Brett Wagner from the Lincoln Journal. Dani, what feels so unique about this for a first year as far as the potential to have returning players and returning staff?
Yeah, it really makes it like easier, for lack of a better word, on the head coach, because you have the staff in place. So immediately I can start right into the team and recruiting, and that's been a philosophy of mine. Is those two things always come first, the team and recruiting. So I don't have to worry about little things here and there, because I know the staff is taking care of that, and they're ready to work, and they want this team to be successful, no matter if it was John or myself as the head coach. And then just having the team coming back and being so supportive, and getting text messages and just seeing them, and I can feel their smiles and excitement, and I know they're going to be ready to work and really enjoy a little bit of change.
Hi, Coach. Erin Sorensen with Counter Read. we talk a lot about how Nebraska is the epicenter of volleyball, not just at the collegiate level, but at the club level, pretty much every level, even now professionally. And for you being the first woman to lead this Nebraska volleyball team, what do you hope that can show all of the women across the state as far as what's possible for them and maybe those little girls that are sitting in that crowd right now?
Yeah, what's amazing about our sport is the ball has already been rolling. This year we had the first woman to win a national championship, and now you're seeing more women take over these historic programs and, getting a chance to lead and to show that we can do it. And for me, it's more than just being a woman. It's just about, we can be really successful and competitive, but we can also have great family lives and great lives outside of our sport. And I'm hoping to model that to them, that you really can do it all.
Hi, Coach. Adam Kruger with CBS in Omaha. When it comes to that 06 meeting with John, it's been beaten to death. But what's the main lesson you took from that you hope can still apply to today's generation?
Number one, the young athletes, when they're playing on their club teams and playing on their high school teams, to not just be obsessed with playing one certain position and to be open to trying different things. You want to be the most well-rounded athlete you possibly can be. And then number two is, the team comes first, and the best teams and the teams that are winning national championships, they have a selflessness about them that other teams don't, and that's why they're there at the end. And so you never know what's going to be asked of you, so you got to be ready for it and embrace it. And you picked the sport of volleyball, so you got to do what you can to give your team the best chance to win.
And a follow-up. Compared to Louisville, Nebraska does have higher expectations. Native sons, native daughters have come back, and it's been a mixed bag of goods. Did that make you hesitant at all to come back?
No, if you start playing the compare game, that's never going to work. And, this is different. I spent a lot of time away from Nebraska. It wasn't just a couple seasons that were magical. It was a long time, and I learned a lot, and that's what prepared me to come back and feel confident. Plus, this team is not or this program is not a case where somebody got fired or somebody is leaving in a bad place. This is a program that's getting left in an amazing position. And so no hesitation in that way.
Danny, Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Personally for you, having taken Louisville to 2 national championship matches and having a growing family, where were you at within the window of opportunity where the timing worked for you?
The timing is always hard, like leaving a place that you love. So I love Louisville. It's an amazing place to live and raise a family, and amazing athletic department. So I wouldn't say the timing is ever perfect, but for me to be able to come home with a baby on the way, with all of our family here, and not gonna lie, my husband might have been freaking out a little bit thinking about 2 young kids without any help. So it was, a little bit of God's timing that this is what our family needed at this time.
Danny, Lincoln Arneal again. You kind of, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but in your last contract you negotiated with Louisville, you put in a buyout clause with exception for Nebraska too. Is that kind of a red flag saying, hey, I'm interested, remember me over here? Or what was the rationale behind putting that clause in with Nebraska in their contract?
I think that was more discussions with Josh, the AD at Louisville, and I wanted to make sure that I did not take Nebraska off the list of my opportunities, but I also knew that I wanted to be true to Louisville, but unless something at Nebraska came up, and I think Josh did the right thing, and he talked about a lot of the right thing to do, to almost like a reward. We're gonna honor, or we're gonna give you this great contract, but we understand that Nebraska is a special place to you, and we don't want to close any doors for you.
Hey, Coach, Nate Johnson with Channel 8 News. Thinking about kind of Coach Cook this past season, kind of dipping into the social media field a little bit. How do you balance, being a coach, being a mentor, a motherly figure, kind of all in one a little bit?
I'm still figuring that out. So I have not learned the right way to balance it all. And I think it's just a lot of, you got to say no sometimes, and then you got to pick and choose what's important to you. But again, I'm figuring that out, learning on the way. And what's amazing about having great staff is it allows you to do that, and a team that understands. And I told the team on day one, like, I'm really transparent. And for that, I think that builds a lot of trust. And so they're going to know what I'm missing for. I'm not afraid to tell them, like, I'm going on a vacation. Like, that's okay, So I think that transparency really helps give you the confidence to be able to do things that are balanced life outside of volleyball.
Jacob Badil with Hale Varsity. Can you kind of walk us through the process of getting Jalen and Kelly and Lindsay back on board, your connections with them, and then maybe the next steps in terms of potentially filling out your coaching staff?
I think Jalen, Kelly, and Lindsay, they love Nebraska. And, I think they, again, want to see this team accomplish goals that they've set, years ago. And I've known all of them. Lindsay was actually a volunteer coach when I was a player, and then she was the director of ops when I coached here. Kelly I coached for most of her career, I think all but 1 year. And then Jalen and I have gotten to know each other really well, just out recruiting and working USA camps. So I knew that it would be a good fit to keep everybody together. And I think John also helps that too, letting them know that he believes it would be a good fit. So it really wasn't much convincing. As far as the next staff member, I'm going to take my time. There's some amazing people in this program already that have put in some work that could potentially fill that. But I've gotten the green light from Troy if there's, if we want to make a change or add a staff member, that we'll do that. But I'm not in a hurry to do that.
Amy, just again, with it being National Girls and Women in Sports Day yesterday, what would you tell 9-10-year-old Dani about just how things have gone and where you're continuing to head?
I would tell 10-year-old Dani to always dream big and not give up, and make sure that you are prepared, or that you can handle the good and the bad times, and also to remind her that in sports there's a lot of high highs and a lot of low lows, but at the end of the day, this is a game that brings so many people joy and love, and it can unite people. It's such an amazing opportunity to be a big part in the sports world.
Kevin Suits again, Dani. John, when he announced his retirement last week, he said something about the new challenges in volleyball are for you to figure out. What are they?
I just think the changing landscape of college athletics in general, don't think you can pinpoint one thing. It's just like there's something new. There's new rules changing. There's transfer portal. There's NIL. There's rev share. And literally you'll get an update every day that it changed. So I think it's just keeping up with the changes and being able to navigate those. That's why being at a place like Nebraska is really, if it's an advantage, because I think we're always one step ahead and thinking about all these changes, what could happen next.
Brent Wagner again. What ways do you hope that you and the program can honor John Cook and what he's built as you go forward now?
I think the best way to honor what John's built is to continue to show the product on the court. So win games, win championships, and, play with joy. And I know there's going to be some really fun things planned this fall to honor John. And, we're going to be the proudest parts of those plans. But number one will be no winning. And I know he would have loved to go out with the national championship, but I also know that he will be just as happy watching this team win one in December if it comes to that.
All right, we will conclude there, and we'll bring up the players next. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.